The Eternal Student here, and today we'll be continuing our breakdown of the IB Economics syllabus by talking about the problem of choice. Last video, we defined economics as the study of scarce resources and how people make choices regarding those resources. Now let's hold this thought for a second and quickly talk about these resources in question. The first thing we have to realize is that resources don't do a whole lot for us on their own. Odds are you don't walk into the supermarket with a craving for resources. We need those resources to be turned into something useful or something that we actually want. Namely, these fall into two categories: goods, i.e. tangible stuff that you can actually touch and see, for example, bread, and services, which are intangible activities performed by other people for other people. For example, a street performer who entertains people by covering his face with bread and letting the pigeons go to town on him. Now, goods and services require certain inputs, called factors of production, to be produced, and these can be neatly categorized as well. We have capital, which refers to any man-made resources that go into production, such as tools, buildings, machines, and also money. Enterprise, which includes entrepreneurs, the people who take risks in order to set up and drive the organization. You'll recognize the vast majority of them by their psychopathic tendencies and lizard-like behavior. Land, so any natural resources which are used in the production process, for example the physical land space you are using, and also any resources that it may contain like soil and oil, etc. And finally, labor, the people working to produce stuff. This can range from specialized high-skill positions such as fast food drive-thru workers, or even low-skill easy jobs such as the President of the United States. An easy way to remember all of these is to use the acronym CELL, or CELL for short, just like the secure cell Jeffrey Epstein was being held in before he was murdered. With that information in mind, we can double back and revisit our definition of economics and boil it down to the basic economic problem. So, there are many scarce resources on planet Earth. For example, there's only so much oil under our feet before we use it all up, and only so many banana trees we can plant. However, human wants and needs are effectively infinite. None of us are ever satisfied with less. We need more and more to stoke the infernal fires of greed that lie in our hearts. Due to this innate mismatch, choices will have to be made by consumers, producers, and the government on how to allocate these resources. In the process of making these choices, economists have also created a term for what we have to give up. That term is opportunity cost, and the textbook definition is the cost of the next best alternative foregone. Don't forget this, as you'll be expected to know this by heart. In plain speak, it basically refers to what you have to give up in order to choose a certain thing. For example, let's say you have a test tomorrow and you're faced with two choices. You could either spend your upcoming limited resources, i.e. your time, in order to prepare for the test, or you could spend the whole day procrastinating and doom scrolling on your phone. If you choose to prepare for the test, you'd effectively be giving up the satisfaction and dopamine gained by doom scrolling. That would be your opportunity cost of revising for the test. On the other hand, if you decide to procrastinate, your opportunity cost would be a solid predicted grade and the emotional gratification of your dad saying, "I'm proud of you." We all know you'll make the right decision. Now, there are certain goods that exist which don't really follow the same rules though, and we call these free goods. Most goods are valuable because they are scarce. On the other hand, free goods are in plentiful supply and therefore can't be valued. As a rule of thumb, anything that doesn't have a price tag because no one will buy it is generally classed as a free good. With all that in mind, who decides how resources are allocated in the real world? Is it A, the people, or B, the government? Well, the answer is it really depends on the economic system being used, but no matter the system, a couple of key questions have to be answered. What do we produce with the resources, and how much of it is produced? How do we produce what we want to produce? And who do we produce these goods and services for? Now, there are three main systems that work to allocate goods using different methods and principles. The first is the free market. So this is equivalent to imagining no government presence in the economy. If we let producers and consumers interact with each other through markets to create supply and demand, they will be able to price items according to how much they value them and allocate resources accordingly. Now, this is a very reductive explanation, but we'll revisit supply, demand, and price in a future video. Next is the planned economy. Now, the government gets to make all of the decisions regarding resource allocation for society. Well, feeling hungry? Too bad. The government needs more barbed wire built for the new gulag they're making. Get to work. And finally, we have the mixed economy, which combines aspects of both free market and planned economies, the hybrid baby of both. In real life, every economy is a blend between central planning and market control, and for good reason. Though I may have made free market economies seem all sunshine and bunnies compared to planned economies, often some level of government planning or intervention is required in society. For example, think of child labor laws or minimum wage laws. And with that, we're done. Again, I'm including my highly effective traffic light rating system, patent pending, for reviewing the syllabus statements we've covered. And here they are. Now, the two most important areas you will need to remember are factors of production and opportunity costs. These come up with some regularity, and you may be expected to define and engage with the concepts on certain exam questions. However, they are often combined with other economic concepts we haven't covered just quite yet, so don't panic if you can't answer the questions on screen. But everything else in green, you're extremely unlikely to be tested on. You do need to know that the government may be expected to intervene in certain conditions, but this will all be covered in much more detail later on in the course. And you're done. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.